Hi there, very good morning. Welcome back to ET Now. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now with me, Kanishka Sarkar and Ankita Saxena. You've joined us live from the SBI Live Studios. This is the show where we'll take all your stock-specific queries with our experts. But before that, let's get started with how the market is shaping up at this hour. And Ankita, a pretty decent day coming in. Not very solid moves over there, but holding on to that 26,260 on the Nifty.
Yes, absolutely. As you pointed out, nothing much happening there, but we're still managing to hold on to this 26,250 levels. In fact, even if you look at the market breadth, it's very even, Steven. The advance decline ratio are completely even. And as far as Nifty is concerned, we have managed a very minor recovery though. But nonetheless, as we pointed out, it's getting 50 points right now on the Nifty. As far as Nifty Bank is concerned, Nifty Bank is showing a sharper recovery from the day's lowest point, almost 200 odd points recovery for Nifty Bank there. That's trading up 127 odd points on the Nifty Bank. As far as the broader markets are concerned, that is where, it's a bit tepid today. Midcap is absolutely flat. It's trading in the red right now. It's flip-flopping between the red and the green. Very, very flat, as you can see on your screens. As far as small cap is concerned, that's trading in the red with cuts of 0.1% cut coming in on small caps. But if you look at the sectors, autos are in the fast lane today, trading with gains of 0.5%. There's M&M that's trading up almost 2%. Exide Industries, TVS Motor, Hero Motor, all of them trading upwards of 0.5% there. Metals are also doing very well right now today, trading with gains of 0.5%. Adani Enterprise, Hindustan Zinc, Vedanta, Hindustan Copper, Jindal Steel, all of them are trading with gains of 0.5%. But on the losing side, we have the energy stocks that are declining in trade. In fact, Nifty Energy is reading at a bit of a selling pressure there, with 0.4% cut coming in. Even though, IGL, JP Power, Power India, they're managing to hold on to a shade of green with gains of 1%. But the entire pack collectively is trading with cuts. So that's how the market is largely shaping up. The texture looks, it's a mixed cube, but nonetheless, not a bad day coming in, Kanishka.
All right, so that's how the market is shaping up at this hour. But then let's get started with all the queries. And all of you who haven't sent us your queries yet, do send them all in. The number is flashing on your screen. Don't forget to mention your name, your stock's name, your holding time horizon, and your very specific query that you have. And we'll get them answered by our experts. So let's get started today. Well, on the fundamentals today, we are joined by G. Chokalingam, the founder and head of research at Economics Research. And of course, on the technicals, we have Kunal right here with us in the studio. So let's get started then. The first question is coming on Gail. It's a big mover today as well. So the viewer has 410 shares of Gail at a price of 235 rupees. They're currently making a loss of about 27,000. That's the latest that they told us. And they want to know what's the outlook for the long term. Should they continue to hold it or should they cut the loss? Mr. Chokalingam, what is your opinion?
Definitely one can hold. It is trading at a very low PE. Stock also corrected a lot. Short term, there may be some stress continuously, but medium to long term outlook is good because the outlook for gas transportation as well as, the company is getting into, quite aggressive way in petrochemical downstream business. So its medium to long term outlook remains quite robust. So I would give a hold recommendation on Gail.
Recommendation coming in as far as Gail is concerned, but let's move on to the next question that's coming in. The next question is coming in from this one's coming from Punjab by Parth Anand, who's written about TVS Supply Chain, 132 shares at a buying price of 200 rupees is what he's bought it at. And the second stock that he's bought is Equitas Small Finance Bank. Parth, he has not given any question, but Kunal, let me come to you and ask you about both TVS Supply Chain and Equitas Small Finance Bank. I believe Equitas he's bought at a buying price. Actually, he's sitting at a loss on both the counters. What should he be doing right now?
So I think Equitas, I would suggest to hold on to. The stock seems to be coming out of a major corrective wave from 110, 115 levels. In 2024, the stock had corrected to almost sub 50 mark and now it's come back into a recovery phase. So it looks like that maybe the worst could be behind the stock price and you might see the stock going into a rally phase. So I'll suggest a hold over here. TVS Supply Chain, on the other hand, the stock has gone through or is going through a corrective phase right now. It's still forming a new low for itself on the short-term basis. However, the only good part is that the indicators so far have entered into the oversold territory for TVS Supply Chain, which means pretty quickly you might see the stock hitting a bottom. So hold on both of the stocks, but Equitas seems to be a much more better chart at current levels given the way the stock has gone through a major correction. But TVS Supply Chain, I think, is still going through a corrective phase.
Okay, so TVS Supply is still going through a corrective phase, that's the word. But moving on to the next counter, this query is coming from Mathivanan from... they haven't given us the location, but we'll take their query. This one is on Tata Investment. They purchased the stock at a price of 950 rupees. So clearly they are sitting at a loss. They want to know, should they accumulate more at the current levels or should they book their losses? Kunal, what would your view be?
See, I think I would suggest just hold on to the stocks as of now. It's a very high beta name. In the last 3 months or so, the stock has corrected from 1140-50 levels to now 700 mark. So into these kind of names, the quantum of exposure has to be a lot more lower because of the volatility the stock goes through. A 30% to 40% swing in a matter of 2 or 3 months is quite a sharp swing. And to try and preempt a bottom into these kind of stocks is very, very difficult, because by the time you expect the stocks hit a bottom, it tends to drop another 10 to 15%. So I think just in that context, I would suggest to hold on and not to average.
All right, hold on to it, but do not average into Tata Investment Corp. So that's what Kunal wants to say. But let's move on to a live question that's coming in, a live caller, S. Manjunathan, who's calling us from Bangalore. Hi, Mr. Manjunathan. Tell us, what's your question?
Yeah, good morning to you all. I'm a senior citizen and I'm also a regular viewer of ET now. My question is, I am holding 600 shares of NTPC Green at an average price of 109 rupees. I am holding since 26 November 24. It is an IPO allotment. Presently, I have a loss of about 14%. My question is it good to add and continue to hold the shares for under 3 years? And I'm expecting to invest under 50,000 rupees for 3 years. May I know what is the likely target price in next 1 year?
Right, I think we'll get both the views here. Kunal, let me come to you first. He's clearly sitting at a loss, and as I can see the chart, this counter has been, in a consolidation phase since then. In the next 1 year, that's his time horizon. Do you see an up move, and what is it that you would set for NTPC Green?
So, yeah, I think from the next 1 year perspective, the stock should be higher from where it is right now. But my only concern is that maybe the last leg of corrective wave is still pending for NTPC Green. The indicators, even in this last, I think 2-3 months of the correction for the stock price from 110-15 levels to now sub 100 mark, 94-95 where it's trading right now, indicates that the indicators have not yet entered into an oversold territory. So there is this last selling which could be pending into the stock price. Maybe I think the stock can drag down to sub 90 mark or 85 levels thereabout. So it's a hold as of now, but averaging out, I would suggest to do it sub the 90 mark.
All right, so that's the view coming on NTPC Green. But time now to take a very quick break. But before that, let me get you.
Welcome back. You tune into Buy Now Sell Now. We are joining you live from the SBI Live studio with me, Ankita Saxena and Kanishka Sarkar, and we are getting all your questions answered on this show. So let's resume with all the questions that you have been sending to us. Now this one's coming from Lakshmi Manan, who's a senior citizen. He says he's a long-term investor. He's 75 plus from Bangalore. Also, he says that he wants an investment plan for around 1 lakh rupees. Kindly take this query today. Mr. Chokalingam, he has 1 lakh rupees to invest. What would be your bet, or which are the sectors that perhaps you would suggest?
Yeah, first of all, one should put 50-60% in the Sensex and Nifty stock in the short term, because I see a lot of stress continuing in the small and mid caps. So minimum 50-60%. And so the stocks in the large cap, I would recommend strongly Reliance Industry and L&T, followed by Bajaj Auto. These are the 3 stocks one can consider for long term at this point in time. In the small and mid cap, I am extremely bullish on CDSL, Bank of India, Oracle Financial Software, and Nesco, then also Geo Financial Services. These are the set of stocks we have buy recommendation, and we have a very strong conviction.
Wide array of stocks that you could look at, but let's move on to the next query. We have Vimal Mehra from Mumbai joining us live on the phone. Hi Vimal, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. So tell us, which is the stock that you have your query on?
Yeah, good morning team. I have Bajaj Finance with me, 970 purchase price. My view is long term. I have 300 quantities, so just wanted to know the view on Bajaj.
Right. Mr. Shokalingam, the long-term view on Bajaj Finance, how strong do you think the financials are? Their buying price is 970. So what would you suggest they do at this current juncture?
For long term, one can hold. The only thing is, it's already trading around 6.9 times price to book value, and competition is also getting intensified. If you look at, everyday media, almost every NBFC CEO keeps saying that they will double the, outstanding loan book. So I don't know how the competition intensity is going to be. I'm not extremely bullish. Yes, absolute return is possible and in line with index. So therefore, one can hold it for long term.
All right, so long-term hold call coming in as far as Bajaj Finance is concerned, but let's move on to the next counter. This one's coming from Reena Thomas, who's writing on from Kerala. She says she's a senior citizen and she's made some loss on a few shares. She's holding 65,000 rupees in cash. She wants to know if she can buy L&T Finance or wait for some dip. Kunal, let me come to you. L&T Finance, is it a good time to enter, or what are the levels to watch out for where she can enter this counter?
See, in an ideal case scenario, of course, you'll have to enter the stock into a dip. So first question is whether you should enter or not. I think yes, you should look to enter the stock even at current levels. But the only question is that you'll have to wait out for a point where the stock goes into a mild correction. I don't see L&T Finance going into a sharper correction because of the uptrend the stock has shown in the last few months. It's been a lot more consistent, steady, a stable and a calm chart on the upside. So I think in that context, if you happen to see the stock going into a 5%, 7% correction from the swing highs, that's a good enough zone where you can look to start investing.
All right, so a correction of 5 to 6%. If you see that level, you could look at start investing in L&T Finance. That's the word coming in.
Tune in to Buy Now Sell Now from SBI Live Studio. I'm Ankita and with me is Kanishka, and we're getting all your stock-specific questions answered by our experts. Let's get going with all the questions that you have been sending to us. This is coming in from Swati. Swati is writing in. She says she wants to know, she wishes to add 5 lakhs of her money entirely in IT or Pharma. She wants to know if she can put 50-50 in IT and Pharma. Mr. Chokalingam, would you advise that IT and Pharma, while there is valuation comfort in the IT names, but there are still growth concerns? And what about Pharma? For the long term, she wants to put 50-50 money. Do you think she's putting too many eggs in the same basket?
Definitely, long-term outlook is not great for IT stocks because, as we all know, for last 3 years, IT exports in dollar term is growing in 2 to 4% only year on year, and that's not going to change. So I don't think there is a lot of wealth creation opportunity in the IT. So maybe for defensive, yes, stock like Infosys one can play purely from defensive perspective. For also, unless Mr. Trump clarifies his ultimate policy towards export of pharmaceutical product to US, there is little degree of uncertainty. So instead of suggesting these two structure, in a very concentrated way, I would rather bet on 3-4 sectors. Like one is the banking sector where the tailwinds are very good and industry is still growing in double digit. That gives you a lot of promises. So one can look at banking sector and followed by stocks like Reliance and L&T, and diversifying across Nifty Sensex stocks among 4-5 sectors would be a better opportunity, better strategy, I believe.
Okay, so that's the view on L&T, but let's get back to another query then. This one is coming from, so the viewer hasn't really given us their name, but we'll take this query because it's an interesting, we actually have a live call joining us now. Pankaj Raval is here with us on the phone line. Hi Pankaj, very good morning. Please tell us what is your query.
Hello, my question is Kaynes Technology, 6,500 rupees my buying price and 65 share. What can I do, ma'am? क्या करना चाहिए मुझे इसमें?
What is your time horizon, Pankaj? How long do you intend to hold this?
Short term के लिए plan किया था मैंने तो.
Okay, Kunal, the short term view on Kaynes Tech, 6,500 is the buying price, I believe.
See, it's a very good stock undoubtedly, but it's going through a very rough patch in the last, I think, 4-5 months or so. From 7,500, it's corrected now towards sub 5,500 mark. It looks like that maybe some bit of more correction could be due for the stock price. Indicators are just slightly above the oversold territory, and typically we've seen that before it enters into the oversold territory, there could be more residual correction which could be at play for the stocks like Kaynes Technology. So I think in that sense, I would suggest to just hold on to the stock if you are looking, even if you're looking at it from a short-term play. maybe I think closer to 5,200 levels or 5,100 mark is where I would believe that the indicators would come into a deep oversold territory, and that could be a point where you may start to look to go for a contra buy or maybe add your positions so that your average prices drop down. So it's a good quality stock going through a rough patch, but if you're looking to average further, I would suggest to do it sub the 5,200 levels.
All right, so that's the view on Kaynes Technology, but let's move on to the next question. This one is coming from, okay, they have not given their name over here. Viewers, please give us your names. We will not be able to attribute the questions then that you've been sending to us, so we will have to move on from this one. I'll take the next one that's coming in from Sharmishta. She's writing in from Kolkata. She says, what's your outlook on Infosys for the next 3 months? Should I buy now? Kunal, Infosys, right now, is it a good time to enter for the next 3 months? Would that be a sound advice?
See, I think you just have to do your time horizon a little bit more longer than 3 months, because there could be a possibility that in the next 1 to 3 months, the stock may first see an upside and then go into a further corrective wave before these stocks, they tend to bottom out. IT stocks, they typically bottom out when the news flow is extremely negative for themselves. Right now we are not in that peak of pessimism in terms of news flow. The only good part about the charts for stocks like Infosys is that on the technical basis, the stock has crossed the 200 moving average, something which the stock had not done since the start of 2025, when it had managed to break below the 1800 levels. So that's a good sign which is emerging. But as I said, that maybe a final bottom could emerge over the next 1 to 3 months for the stock price. So if you have a slightly longer term time frame, then I believe you can start buying at current levels, maybe 50% of your expected quantity. And in case in the next 1 to 3 months, if you see a 10 to 15% correction further for the stock price, look to add further.
All right, so that's the view on Infosys. Mishra, that's how you could look at adding Infosys to your portfolio. Let's move on to the next query then. This one yet again is from Kolkata. This is Arjun writing. He wants to know whether or not it's a good time to invest in Apollo Microsystem. He's looking at a time horizon of 7 to 8 months. What's the crucial range that he should be watching? Kunal, what is your suggestion? Has the stock already run up too much, 120% of gains already in 2025? Do you think there is more steam left for this one? And are the current levels good to enter?
The last 2 quarters of volumes indicate that there's been a fresh wave of buying which has happened for Apollo Micro. I think in that context, maybe I think this could be a one-off quarter where the stock has gone through a correction or maybe a mean reversion of sorts. The near-term supports for the stock is closer to 235 to 240 range. So maybe in case of this correction just about gets into one more final leg and the stock corrects back towards that kind of a support territory, then I believe it could be a very good buying zone, because based on the last 2-3 quarters of extremely high volumes for the stock price, it indicates that we are looking at a major uptrend which could re-begin to the stock price after years of the stock being into a consolidation. So it's a good stock, but then buying on dips is what I would advise.
All right, so that's the advice coming in on Apollo Micro. But let's move on to the next question. This is coming from Richie from Andhra Pradesh. He says he wants to know about Hindalco for the short-term trading. What are the levels to watch out for, Kunal, on Hindalco?
I think it's a good stock to hold on to, or even to trade at current levels. 810, 815 is where the stock is trading right now. I sense that the near-term price action for Hindalco had been which had been very bearish. So indicative that the near-term pain could be out. The risk reward is attractive. 840-ish, I think, was the previous swing high for the stock price. I believe with the potential fall in the dollar index, metal stocks can make a comeback yet again. So in that context, Hindalco is a good stock where you can look to trade 840 as a target, 780 as a stop loss.
Okay, 780 is the stop loss, that's the word. But moving on to the next question then, this one is coming from B. Santosh, writing from Hyderabad. Yet again, there are short-term investors. So Kunal, this query coming for you, and they are a big fan is what they've told us. And the question is on PI Industries. They bought 60 shares at a price of 3,850. They bought it in August this year. So what is your suggestion? How long should they continue to hold? And when do you think they should sell the stock and book some profits?
See, I think, thank you first of all for that. I believe that PI Industries on the short-term basis still looks a little bit more tepid. You can say weak on the charts. It's trading below the 200 moving average for the last 2 or 3 months. I will not say consecutively, but then it's been trading below this average for quite some time. And it indicates that maybe the near-term charts could get a little bit more weaker for the stock in the near term. So you might have to wait out for a point before the stock gains momentum. I think the first round of momentum could probably be seen once the stock crosses levels of 3680, 3700. So if you're looking to book profits, I would suggest to wait out for that period. Maybe I think it will take another 2-3 months before the stock really shows signs of bottoming out and then acceleration on the upside.
All right, so that's the word coming in on PI Industries. Let's move on to the next question then. That's coming from Bharti from Hyderabad. She says she wants Mr. Chokalingam to answer this question. She wants to know, suggest a few mid and small cap ideas for the long term. Mr. Chokalingam, you just mentioned how mid and small cap are still not looking very attractive in terms of valuations, but are there any pockets of comfort for you?
Yes. Of course, as I mentioned, the small and mid caps are likely to be very weak for at least another 2-3 months or even 5-6 months. But beyond that, I find opportunities are plenty to make wealth. So some of the stocks which we have recommended, I believe can make wealth are, Nesco, Bank of India, CDSL, and then FDC Limited, Sundaram Finance, MRF. Finally, KCP Limited. And some of these stocks we also hold personally, so investors should consider that fact.
So a whole host of small and mid-cap stocks to choose from. That's the word coming from Mr. Chokalingam. Moving on to the next query. This one is coming from Prathamesh, who's written to us from Mumbai. He wants to know, Kunal, whether or not it's the right time to enter into City Union Bank and Jubilant Pharma.
So yeah, I think both of these stocks have done reasonably well. City Union Bank, I think, has been one of the other strong private sector banking performer. The stock moved from 200 to 120 levels mid of this year somewhere to now 270 plus where it's trading right now. So looks attractive. You can consider buying the stock at current levels. Keep some powder dry in case if there is any kind of a mild correction in between for the stock, look to add further. Same is the case with Jubilant Pharma. The stock had gone through a correction from 2024 highs. Now I think it's available at a point where the stock is nearing a breakout on the short-term chart. So would recommend a buy on both of these names.
All right, recommend a buy on both City Union Bank and Jubilant Pharma. But next question is also coming for the short term. Arvind from Kolkata writes, he's holding South Indian Bank, 5,000 shares. He's bought it at a buying price of 40 rupees. He wants to know the short-term view. Should he hold it or should he sell it at this juncture for the next 1 month period, Kunal?
If it's for the next 1 month, then I would suggest to maybe book profits closer to 41 and a half levels. That's a point where the stock is taking resistance. Last time also, we saw the stock taking a resistance at 41 and a half and then moving sharply back towards 37 and a half levels. If it's very specific towards the time frame of 1 month, then I would suggest to book profits just around that 41 plus mark.
All right, so you could book profits at that 41 plus mark for South Indian Bank. That's the word coming in. But on the note, we'll slip into a very short break. More of your queries to be answered on the other side. Welcome back to ET Now. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now with me, Kanishka Sarkar and Ankita Saxena. Time now to take more of your queries then. Let's get back. This one, yet again from the energy space. This is Malik from Hyderabad. He's been holding KPI Green Energy, 3,000 shares at a price of 605 rupees. So clearly they are sitting with a huge loss. They want to know, should they sell or should they continue to hold for another year? Mr. Chokalingam, what would your view be for a 1 year time horizon? Do you think that we could expect some upside from these current levels of 430? Do you think he could reach at that 605 level in a 1 year time?
Because 605 is possible, but definitely from current level, 10-15% is very much possible. Stock is already better now, trading at a comfortable P of around 21, and also it's engaged in a growth sector. So therefore, I would suggest, in fact, a buy with the expectation of around 15-20% return from the current level.
All right, moving on then to the next question. The next question is coming from K. Balaji, who's writing in from Tamil Nadu. He says he is long on Exide. He's bought at a buying price of 410 rupees. What is the future? He's not given us a time over here. But Kunal, let me come to you for Exide. This one's been in a corrective phase. In fact, it's been correcting for a while now. From here on, say, let's take a 6-month to 1 year period. What do you see on the charts for Exide?
Yeah, I think it's gone through a painful correction over the last 1.5 odd year. But since the investors bought at 410 levels and the stock is at 375, it looks like that maybe the stock is nearing a near-term support or a bottom around the short-term charts. I would suggest to wait out for the stock to come back to a cost price and then look to exit the stock and then shift on to some other formidable name or a performing sector.
All right, so you could look at some other stocks probably and wait out for some more time with Exide Industries for now. That's the word coming in. But moving on to another query, Kunal, this one yet again for you. Imtiaz writing from Kolkata. L&T Tech, 60 shares they have at a price of 4,475 rupees. They want to know what should be the short-term target that they should be looking at. And another one is Infosys, 2830 is their buying price, 45 shares is what they have. Again, short-term target, if you could just give us targets for L&T Tech and Infosys.
So for L&T Tech, I would look at 4,600 to 4,650 as an immediate target over the next 1 month. The stock is trying to get into a breakout zone. Over the last 1 week or 10 days, the volumes have started to improve for L&T Tech. So maybe I think the stock should be heading towards a breakout pretty soon. For Infosys, on the other hand, I believe that the stock is still into a consolidative phase, not major jump in volumes on the positive side for Infosys. So maybe on the higher side, we may look at 2,900 acting as a resistance for the stock for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
All right. Moving on from Infosys to the next counter. This one's coming from R. Ganesh, who's writing in from Bangalore. He says that can I buy for the long term Coromandel International, ICICI Bank, State Bank of India, Geo Financial and Bajaj Finance. Those are a lot of names. But Mr. Chokkalingam, would you like to weigh in on this? He wants to buy into Coromandel, ICICI Bank, State Bank of India and Geo Financials.
I would suggest 3 out of 4. State Bank of India is just hold because our target price is close to current price. Yes, ICICI Bank, Geo Finance, even Coromandalam for long term beyond 1 year, one can definitely consider buying these 3 stocks.
You could look at all of these names. Mr. Chokkalingam has been suggesting quite a few of them. Let's move on to the next query then. Yet again, a fundamental question. What is the future of the EMS for next 3 to 4 years? They want to invest about 10 lakh rupees. They are saying that they did invest about 10 lakh rupees, but most of their stocks haven't been doing well. And he wants to know whether PG Electroplast, what's the future of this industry that it operates in? Will I get about 20% return per annum on any other EMS plays? Mr. Chokkalingam, would you like to weigh in on this? EMS space, your top picks for this sector for a 3 to 4 year time horizon.
I mean, I would, if at all holding, I would hold, but I would stay away from buying because of one particular development. Recently, L&T in media interview, they mentioned that they are getting into EMS space. I think that can shatter the industry structure because of the kind of reputation L&T has in manufacturing and engineering, and also the scale at which they operate. This can distort entire market structure. I'm not saying that they will be able to kill everybody, but you have to be very, very cautious in choosing, the EMS companies now. Right now, I am not very confident in choosing that.
All right, let's move on to the next counter then. This is coming from Harendranath from Chennai. He says, can he accumulate Praj Industries? He's a long-term investor and a big fan of Kunal. Kunal, then let me take this question to you. Praj Industries, a good time to get into this counter?
So indicators wise, yes, I think the stock seems to be nearing a oversold territory on the RSIs and multiple other indicators on the weekly, monthly charts. And it looks like that price wise also from 850 levels where the correction started off for Praj Industries, it's already gone through more than a 50% correction from that zone. And generally we see that for a high beta stock, a 50% to 60% correction generally comes out to be a good enough territory where you may look to buy or average in case if you've bought at high levels.
All right. So that's the view on Praj Industries. That was the last talk of the day. Thank you, Mr. Chokkalingam and Kunal, joining us today for those fundamental and technical views. On that note, we'll let you go.